I'm at the European Climate Change Adaptation Conference. I'm joined by Professor Juergen Kropp from the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, who is also project coordinator for the LOCALISED project, which is an EU-funded initiative that works to develop decarbonisation pathways for local authorities, citizens and businesses. Professor, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
So, first question I wanted to ask you, LOCALISED is heavily focused on climate mitigation and decarbonisation. So why is it important for you to be at this congress that's on adaptation?
Yeah, so we have a variety of very important development in the moment. So we started with the carbon border tax just 2 years ago. We have now this internal climate and sustainability reporting directive into force. And this means that all companies have to deal with carbon emissions. So they have to clarify from where are the emissions coming from, whether they are producing it here in the European Union or whether they are producing it abroad. So they have to do somehow in reporting, and this reporting is used then by the European Commission in order to decide what kind of strategies are useful in the future for bringing us down or bringing us nearer to net zero. LOCALISED had this in mind as we started with the project. It had a duration of 4 years now, so we will come to an end now. But we thought, okay, so when we really like to know what companies, what local stakeholders really should do in terms of mitigation, we have to scale down the information which we get from, let's say, global models or national models. So when let's say, a country knows that they should bring down the emissions in 1 year by 1 gigaton, you can imagine that discussions immediately would come up. Who should do that? Who should take care of these targets? Yeah? And this is an important question. Yeah? So because we have, when we look into our economies, we have very carbon-rich companies, which we have. So we have also companies which are already on a good track. So it's kind of a negotiation process, indeed, how we burden the carbon challenge on the different companies. And we try to develop a model, and we developed a new one here, to bring down the, let's say, carbon dioxide commitments from a national level to a NUTS 3 level. So that's county level or city level. And and then we looked also in the relevant sectors, and gave also solutions to the local stakeholders how they can achieve their local targets. So this was the idea, and we more or less accomplished now what we promised. What we still have to do a little bit is we have to check whether this information is really taken up by the stakeholders. So this is something which is also still going on.
Yeah, because obviously the legacy of a project like that is hugely important, isn't it? I know you've developed certain tools, right, for local authorities or businesses that can actually go online. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Yeah, we have a climate action strategizer. So the climate action strategizer is exactly that what I'm saying. And we have also a kind of a business tool. This is for companies, indeed. So for the companies, we developed scenarios and pathways which are showing them how much risk they have to take, also from the climate change point of view. So what happens with them when temperature is increasing, but what also they can do in particular in order to bring their own carbon burden down.
Okay. So you've obviously quite a lot of complexities involved. Every region is different, every city, every locality, every municipality is different. That must have been quite a complex challenge, right? Can you tell me a little bit about how you
So
tackled
it
that?
was indeed a complex undertaking. So in the session I was asking for the opportunities of AI solutions, because in my mind I was aware that we used it in LOCALISED, but our representative was not taking it up, and also the others were not taking that really up. So when you deal with all the NUTS levels in Europe, you have hundreds, if not thousands. So I guess in Germany alone we have 500. I don't know how much we really have, but indeed you have huge data sets. And when you like to come to considerable results, and when you have to take into account that you have sometimes have missing data, you can solve these issues only with AI. And this is actually what we did.
Okay.
With our tool, we combined also an AI module which helps us to create all these background data.
Okay, right.
So this is not, let's say, the one-stop shop or one-stop solution for everything. It really depends on the question you like to answer. Yeah? So sometimes you can do it maybe also with another technology or with another algorithm. But here, to some extent, it was working out.
Yeah. I think it's, as you say, it's going to be increasingly important to bridge gaps with AI going forward. Can you share any sort of important learnings from the project? Any success stories?
Yeah. Yeah, so the legacy of localized was really much longer than I just told you. So because we had another project which ended just a year before localized started, and this was the so-called European Calculator project. This helped us to scale down carbon emission reduction pathways for the European member states at this time. This was an extremely, or was a really challenging undertaking at this time, because we tried to make the model simple. How did we do that? So that was a demand of the European Commission, by the way. As I said, okay, so these energy system models, they're so complex, nobody really understands what they are doing and whether they are right or not. What we did is the following. We created a kind of a graph model. So we have input levels. These are the different sectors, so for instance, mobility, construction, whatever you can imagine here, 40 almost, 40 levels, input levers. And then at the end, we have the carbon dioxide emission. So it's rather simple, this description, but almost correct. And then we were asking experts in the particular field, so in the construction industry, for example, if you could imagine what would happen in the next 50 years or until 2050 in your sector, which kind of technological innovation you may see in the next couple of years. What does it mean in terms of the carbon dioxide reduction in your field? And then they need to rank all these options. So lever 1 was more or less business as usual. Then lever 2, a little bit more ambitious, and so on. Lever 4, Apollo mode, technically feasible, but rather unlikely.
Yeah.
So this is how we did it. That means we created somehow the dynamics on the basis of stakeholder dialogues or expert guessing. And that makes it things rather simple, but also to some extent complex, because we didn't got only one solution, but a series of solutions, which we had then to sort. And this data we used also as input for the localized project. So that was our starting point. And we then scaled it further down, enriched it all these scenarios with additional data. So it was a huge challenge for all the colleagues, and I'm very happy that we achieved more or less that what we have achieved so far.
Yeah. Well, I've seen some of the tools you've developed, and it's great to see something that's actually practical and accessible for people. All right, is there a lot of work being done there? Is there anything you'd like to share with people about the localized project?
Not only the localized project, I guess we should rethink a little bit climate services in general. You know? So it doesn't make sense if we substitute one complexity, namely the model complexity, which everyone is criticizing somehow, that we substitute it by a flooding of potential end users and stakeholders with a series or a multitude of series of services.
Yeah.
So this is what we should, I guess, to reconsider in the next coming years, and then probably standardize these services, create kind of interoperability and all this. But this is an open issue.
Yeah, ongoing work, right. All right, Professor Juergen Kropp from the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research and the Localized Project, thank you for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you very much.